everyone, and welcome. You're watching Eagle News America. I'm Anna Cui, coming to you from Las Vegas, Nevada. Tonight, we have updates from several of our correspondents across North America, starting with Thomas Likeness in Edmonton, Alberta.
Good news for Alberta musicians from the province's top doctor.
I'm Ellen Ramos in Washington, D.C.
President Trump and former Vice President Biden pay tributes on 9/11 and worries over election integrity.
Nia Dames in Gaithersburg, Maryland.
Maryland's mail-in ballots printing company quits.
Philip Toledo in Atlanta, Georgia.
City of Atlanta moves to phase 2 of reopening.
Mila Simbulan in Swarthmore, Pennsylvania.
Department of Agriculture urging Pennsylvanians to take action against spotted lanternflies for the sake of food security.
Mayan Manzano Guerzon in Sicklerville, New Jersey.
New Jersey Motor Vehicle Commission extends deadlines and streamlines processes during pandemic.
Monique Velasco in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, will report about Louisiana entering phase 3 of COVID-19 mandates as Governor Edwards declares a state of emergency for Tropical Storm Sally. Next, we have Rafaela May Tigno in North Hills, California.
2 Los Angeles County Sheriff's deputies were ambushed and shot multiple times by an unidentified gunman in Compton.
And for EBC Sports, Melissa Potas in Orlando reports about student athletes weighing in on the start of the fall season. But first, an overview of the COVID-19 situation. According to the Coronavirus Resource Center of Johns Hopkins University in Medicine, as of 4 p.m. Eastern Time, Sunday, September 13, 2020, the number of cases of COVID-19 reported worldwide is now more than 28,800,000. Top 3 countries with most number of recorded cases, starting with the U.S., 6.5 million. Next is India at 4,754,000, and Brazil, more than 4,300,000. Sadly, this virus has taken more than 921,000 lives worldwide. Again, top 3 countries with most number of COVID-19 related deaths, starting with the U.S., more than 193,000, Brazil, more than 131,000, and India, more than 78,000. Our coverage begins now. Government health workers perform rapid COVID-19 tests on the Sahu Ape indigenous community in Brazil's Amazonas state, as the country's death toll from the novel coronavirus has surpassed 130,000. Amid cautious optimism over signs, the virus is finally slowing in the hard-hit South American country.
Toda a pandemia a gente vem tendo um pouco de dificuldade, né, de doença, mas graças a Deus a primeira vez hoje nós chamamos para fazer esse teste, né, aqui na aldeia. Enquanto o tempo todo vivendo só no remédio caseiro, no xarope.
Foi realizado 90 testes. Dentro desses 90 testes, 43 casos confirmados. Dentro desses 43, houve um óbito no hospital de campanha. Desses 43, todos foram monitorados pela equipe dentro da aldeia.
Meanwhile, in Cyprus, U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo called on Turkey to cease tension-raising activities in the eastern Mediterranean during a visit to the country Saturday, urging all sides to back diplomacy. Ankara is at loggerheads with Greece and Cyprus over maritime hydrocarbon resources and naval spheres of influence, sparking fears of conflict. Take a look.
We remain deeply concerned by Turkey's ongoing operations, surveying for natural resources in areas over which Greece and Cyprus assert jurisdiction in the eastern Mediterranean. Increased military tensions help no one but adversaries who would like to see division in transatlantic unity. Energy in the eastern Mediterranean has an ability to bring states together. Regional cooperation is absolutely necessary for durable energy security.
The Mediterranean island of Cyprus is divided between the internationally recognized Republic of Cyprus, a member of the EU, and a breakaway state set up after a Turkish invasion launched in 1974 in response to a coup sponsored by the military junta then ruling Greece. Pompeo met the Cypriot officials after a trip to Doha, where he inaugurated long-awaited talks between Afghanistan's government and the Taliban.
Countries in the region need to resolve disagreements, including on security and energy, resources, maritime issues, diplomatically and peacefully.
Pompeo said his trip to Cyprus would complement phone calls by President Donald Trump with his Turkish counterpart Recep Tayyip Erdogan and Greek Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis. Anastasiadis welcomed the U.S., quote, firm stance on condemning Turkey's illegal drillings within Cyprus' exclusive economic zone. Now we go on with our live updates. Alberta musicians, we have some good news for you from the province's top doctor. Bureau Chief Thomas Likeness joins us this evening.
Well, good evening, Anna. There were no flat notes in this announcement from Alberta's Chief Medical Officer of Health. You've heard her before on this program, Dr. Dina Hinshaw. She says indoor singing will be allowed now, as well as limited band practices and wind instrument concerts. All of this had been banned since the start of the lockdown. Now, Hinshaw says choirs can resume again, but there will be limits. There'll be maximum size limits, and the vocalists will have to wear masks.
These are activities that many Albertans have sorely missed. The arts play an important role in schools and in our emotional well-being, and the restrictions have been hard for many. We had originally severely limited indoor singing and use of wind instruments, as there was some evidence indicating that they may pose unique risks of transmitting COVID-19. After reviewing the spread of the virus and measures in place in other jurisdictions, we have seen emerging evidence that these activities can be done safely if rigorous and proper precautions are in place.
Shaw says those precautions include social distancing, making sure proper cleaning is done as well. And there are still some limitations on indoor singing.
However, audience singing is still not allowed, and congregational singing in faith settings is still discouraged. This is because it is easier to ensure that all guidance is rigorously and regularly applied with smaller groups, while singing in a larger group without these same ongoing rigorous measures could lead to large transmission events.
And for karaoke fans, the news not so good. It's still banned. Public experts say it's just too dangerous. You know, karaoke clubs in Quebec have been blamed for large outbreaks in that province, and they've shut them down again. Well, let's all stay on the same song sheet. Take care of others, take care of yourselves, stay home, stay safe, and stay tuned to Eagle News for accurate and balanced coverage of the COVID-19 pandemic and other current affairs. In Edmonton, Canada, Thomas I. Likeness, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Anna.
Thank you for your report, Thomas. That's really some good news for musicians. I mean, as we know, music can calm the soul, right? So it's sounding like it's getting better over there. But it doesn't sound like you're going to be doing karaoke anytime soon.
No, and you know, interestingly enough, after all of this is over, some of us, there's a bunch of karaoke zealots in Edmonton here, of which I'm one of them. Some of us were discussing when this is all over and we can get back together again, do we bring our own microphones?
That's an idea. I mean, definitely things will not be the same as they used to, right?
Sadly, no. Sadly, no. But maybe better. Let's say the glass is half full.
Yes. Yeah, we definitely learned some developed some good habits from all of this. So we'll keep some of those good habits, I'm sure.
Take care.
Well, thank you, Thomas. Take care.
Okay.
Up next, reports from our correspondents in Washington, D.C., Gaithersburg, Maryland, and Atlanta, Georgia. We'll return in a moment. This is Eagle News America.
The New Era University, in its 45th year of excellence, discipline, and service to humanity, will offer online education all levels beginning this first semester, academic year 2020 to 2021. through the NEU Virtual Learning Environment, or NEU VLE. New Era University offers a complete basic education cycle from kindergarten up to senior high school, offering all strands. NEU has 18 colleges, and 2 graduate schools. It also offers ALS and ETF. Best of all, NEU has the most affordable tuition fees among private universities in the Philippines. NEU is at Quezon City, the city of San Fernando, Pampanga, General Santos City, South Cotabato, Lipa City, Batangas, and Pinugay, Baras, Rizal.
New Era University is under the stewardship of Dr. Dilo L. Rosas.
What are you waiting for? Be part of the new normal. Enroll now. Classes start on October 5, 2020.
Bilisan mo! Mag-alas 12 na! Uy guys! Alas 12 na! Tara na! Excuse me! Pataan! Alas 12 ka!
Alamin ang mga pangunahing balita at impormasyon sa loob ng bansa. Maging sa ipayong dagat sa Agila, Pilipinas. Samahan ang batikang broadcaster na si Angelo Palmones sa isang oras na programa kasama ang mabibilis at matatalas na correspondents mula sa Luzon, Visayas at Mindanao. Gayon din sa ipayong dagat. Agila, Pilipinas, Lunes hanggang Biyernes, alas 11 ng umaga hanggang alas 12 ng tanghali. Simula sa Setyembre 14, dito sa Net25. Mapapanood din ng live sa eaglenews.ph at Eagle News Facebook page. Agila, Pilipinas.
Ein sonniger Tag heute hier in Berlin vor dem Bundestag. Ich bin Irene Juliet Arzadon und möchte diese Gelegenheit nutzen, um ein paar Worte mit euch zu teilen. An alle Menschen da draußen. In dieser Zeit lasst uns nicht vergessen, den Menschen zu danken, die ihr Leben für uns opfern. Sei es die Menschen, die im Krankenhaus arbeiten, in den Altenheimen sowie in den Arztpraxen, aber auch an die Menschen, die im Lebensmittelhandel sich befinden. Die Kassierer. Manchmal reicht es aus, um ihnen ein freundliches Lächeln zu geben. Denn die Menschen, die heute am Arbeiten sind, weil sie nicht so wie einige von uns zu Hause bleiben können, die sollten wir wertschätzen. Ihnen sollten wir unseren Dank ausrichten. Darum lasst uns noch mehr zusammenhalten. Sie wertschätzen.
Oh my goodness! It's good to be back! Orly magtanggol po. Orly for sure. OFW at your service. Mabuhay ka, kabayan. Anak!
Hello, beautiful. I'm Darius Magtanggol. Papa D for short. Tatay ni Orly, original singer, heartthrob ng cruise ship.
Pwede ho ba magtanong? Sino ho ako? Alam ko na ho. Ako nga ho pala si Eva Magtanggol. Misis po ako ni Darius.
Makigulo! Makitawa!
At makipagkantahan kasama natin ang ating mga OFW dito lang sa
Saya!
Hello po, ako si Hazel Faith at mula ngayong Lunes mapapanood na po natin ang Letters and Music sa bago nilang time slot, alas 8 ng gabi, dito lang sa Net 25.
Welcome back. This is Eagle News America. I'm Anna Cui in Las Vegas. For our wildfire update, at least 40,000 people have been evacuated as multiple wildfires continue to rage in Oregon. In the city of Grisham, dozens of families displaced by the fires sleep in travel trailers or tents in a parking lot. Take a look.
To be honest, if we have to rebuild, we have to rebuild. If we don't have to rebuild, we still have so much cleanup to do because of the ash. Because when we left, like I said, the last time we pulled out, there was almost 2 inches. So it is what it's going to be, and I am just thankful that we're alive, we're together, and
Tuesday, I went to work, and I had to leave work so that we could evacuate. I had to ride horses out of there. We packed what we could, and our house is still standing, so that's good. But lots of people around us, their homes didn't make it, so it's messed up.
how fast did you have to?
Can't go back yet. We're gonna wait for at least 1 day of rain before we go back because there's ash. It's thick ash everywhere. Yeah.
And how's the situation?
People that just live down the street, they come through. The fire department, the Gresham Fire Department has come through and they've dropped off tons of food and water, and then just other random people have donated so much stuff to help. Blankets and food, water, everything, anything you could think of.
I wish I can do more, but there's a lot of other people needed too. So I hope there's lots of other people to join us and giving their food for needed too. So we need more people to help each other, and especially we have a COVID, and then we have this fire, and we all know we're all in this together. So.
Back to our live updates. President Donald Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden pay tributes on 9/11. And worries over election integrity. In Washington, D.C., we have Imelin Ramos joining us tonight. Imelin.
Thank you, Anna. We often hear the question, what were you doing or where were you on 9/11? It's been 19 years since that horrific terrorist attack on U.S. soil, and each year since then, our elected officials do their part to pay tribute to those who have lost their lives. With the presidential election looming, President Trump and former Vice President Biden did their best to show leadership this past Friday on the anniversary of 9/11. President Donald J. Trump struck a somber tone in Pennsylvania. He traveled to Shanksville, Pennsylvania, where an airliner crashed after passengers tried to regain control of the aircraft from the hijackers. The President and First Lady Melania Trump listened in silence as the names of the 40 passengers and crew killed aboard Flight 93 were read aloud, with 2 bells tolling after each. The President paid tribute to those who lost their lives and honored first responders, as well as military personnel who fought to preserve our freedom in the subsequent wars launched under former President George W. Bush.
In their memory, we resolve to stand united as one American nation, to defend our freedoms, to uphold our values, to love our neighbors, to cherish our country, to care for our communities, to honor our heroes, and to never, ever forget.
Former Vice President Joe Biden began the day in New York for an annual event honoring the nearly 3,000 who died in the World Trade Center 19 years ago. Biden did not deliver a speech as the ceremony reserves that privilege to the victims' close relatives. Moments of silence punctuated the ceremony. During Friday's New York ceremony, Vice President Mike Pence was also in attendance. In such a divisive time in our nation's history, it was nice to see Joe Biden and Mike Pence talking to each other while maintaining social distancing, of course, and sharing an elbow bump. Biden also went to Shanksville, Pennsylvania to pay his respects at the 9/11 memorial. He also visited the Shanksville Volunteer Fire Company Station 627, the garage he last visited in 2012 when he was still vice president. Biden spoke with those who have lost loved ones, showing his strong suit in personal rapport. As the presidential campaign hits its final leg, questions arise regarding the U.S. election integrity. The American voting system may be facing its most serious threats in decades, fueled by baseless presidential rhetoric, record mail-in voting due to coronavirus pandemic, worry about aging machines, and accusations of voter suppression. A 2018 Pew Research study found that the public is, quote, not highly confident that election systems in the U.S. are secure from hacking and other technological threats. The research study states that only 45% of respondents said that they were at least somewhat confident that election systems are secure. Voters are mindful of the Florida disaster in 2000 when a chaotic recount of the state's razor-thin vote was halted by the U.S. Supreme Court, handing the presidency to George W. Bush. Florida could be an issue again as Democrats accuse Republicans of voter suppression efforts. On the other hand, Harvard professor of government Stephen Ansalabaher believes in the election's integrity. Ansalabaher is not particularly worried about the lawsuits, polling stations, or other irregularities that have marked 2020. Each state is responsible for running its vote, while the federal government takes a hands-off approach to election operations. The decentralized system is a double-edged sword. The Harvard professor of government says, quote, it can make it harder to resolve things, but also prevents federal meddling and allows technological innovations. Overall, Ansalabaher expressed pretty high confidence in the election's integrity. With everyone closely eyeing this election and for all the press that it's getting, hopefully every state will keep their election integrity intact. In Washington, D.C., I'm Alin Bondoc Ramos, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Addie.
Thank you for your report, Imelin. Yes, I'm sure the election we will hear much more as the days goes and as it draws nearer. Now, going back to 9/11, it has been 19 years. We've heard a lot of the tributes that occurred in New York and Pennsylvania, and I'm curious what kind of tributes were held there in Washington, D.C., Imelin?
Yes, Anna, thank you for bringing that up. We can't, of course, forget about the 184 people who died at the Pentagon. Due to coronavirus, there was a virtual memorial, and it included a moment of silence at 9:37 a.m., the minute when the American Airlines Flight 77 crashed into the Pentagon. The event was closed to the public but was live streamed. And another touching tribute was the Towers of Light. Usually that's displayed in New York City, but for the first time, the Towers of Light was placed outside the Pentagon and in Shanksville, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Anna.
Thank you, Imelin. Now, I know you probably were not in the U.S. when this happened, but I'm curious, how did you feel when you heard about it, or did you hear about it?
Yes, Anna, I was still a teenager back then.
I was going to say, I am the shoulder the news.
I do remember when the news broke out that we were like shocked, and the next day in school we were asked to write an essay about it, and I just remembered the feeling that I don't know what to write because of the sadness, and that it's real life, that I thought it just happens in movies. But yeah, that was an interesting day for me for writing an essay. And
that's pretty interesting, though, that even though you were not here in the U.S., that you were asked to write an essay. And it is something that affected the whole world, right? I mean, people were shocked all over. So, well, thank you for your report, Imelin. Hope you're staying safe there with your family.
Thank you, Anna.
Look forward to seeing you again next time. Maryland State's mail-in ballots printing company quits in Gaithersburg. Naya Dames has the details. Naya?
Thank you, Anna. This evening, Gaithersburg, Maryland is starting to enjoy fall temperatures at 77 degrees Fahrenheit or 22 degrees Celsius. We're starting to feel the chill in the early morning. With less than 60 days before the November presidential election, Sea Change, the Minnesota-based company hired by Maryland to print mail-in ballots, tells the State Board of Elections it will not produce the requested ballots. Instead, another Minnesota-based company, Taylor Corporation, will produce the mail-in ballots. They will provide up to 4 million mail-in ballots to use in the presidential election. At least half of the state's voters are expected to vote by mail. Taylor has a $7 million cap compared to the $12 million deal with Sea Change. As for in-person voting ballots, Runback Election Services, Inc. will produce and send approximately 4 million ballot applications and postage-paid return envelopes. Another company, Sourcing, will provide more than 15 million ballots. Multiple companies are being contracted to utilize printing processes need more customization. Maryland's relationship with Sea Change turned sour after various problems encountered in the June 2nd primaries were blamed on the vendor. Ballots mailed by Sea Change were received by voters with less than 2 weeks before the primary. The state and the company pointed the blame at each other. Tens of thousands of voters were mailed instructions only in Spanish with their ballots, an error for which the company took accountability for. Election results had to be recopied by hand due to a formatting error that had caused them to be misread by ballot scanners. Sea Change President Wendy Brewer told another news source they declined Maryland's offer to split the printing work because the quantity of ballots needed could be handled by one vendor alone. Brewer said, "That really provides one point of contact and one point of accountability and keeps things much cleaner that way." The company president said their part in the proposal would have accounted for only 20% of the printing work, with the remainder going to Taylor Corp. Sea Change doesn't deem itself to be under contract for the fall general election. The purchase order was never issued specifying what was needed for the printing in the fall. However, a purchase order issued in April for ballot printing states that Sea Change was to mail an unspecified number of ballots for the fall election. Despite this abrupt change, Deputy Elections Administrator Nikki Charlson said the state remains on schedule to complete the printing of mail-in ballots by late September, which is then due to be mailed out to voters. The deadline to request for mail-in ballots in Maryland is October 20. In Gaithersburg, Maryland, Naya Dames, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Anna.
Thank you, Naya, for your report. Certainly a nerve-wracking situation for election officials there in Maryland. But going back, you had mentioned that Taylor Corporation has a $7 million cap compared to the $12 million deal with Sea Change. Why do you think that's such a big difference?
That's a very good point, Anna. Well, Deputy Election Administrator Nikki Charlson said Taylor Corp offered producing the 4 million mail-in ballots the state board is asking for at a cheaper price. With a proven track record in Nevada and the problems in the state face with the former contractor, it's a win-win situation for the state. Anna?
Well, good. I hope it all works out in the end. Thank you, Naya, for your report, and stay safe. We'll see you again next time. The city of Atlanta moved to phase 2 of its reopening. Our Georgia's Bureau Chief, Philip Toledo, reports. Philip?
Thanks, Anna. In the state of Georgia, most businesses have been open to some degree since the statewide shelter-in-place expired way back even before the beginning of summer. However, local and city governments do have varying plans for their reopening. In Atlanta, Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms recently announced that the city would be moving into Phase 2, also known as easing. The phased plan, or the overall phased plan, I should say, was announced just a few months ago and is dependent on key COVID-19 metrics, such as average new cases, % positive tests, hospital availability, and others over a 14-day period. It's important to note that this is the first time that the city has reached the metrics to be able to move into the second phase. Now, in this easing phase, individuals are still expected to stay home except for essential trips. Wear a face mask, which, by the way, is a mandate in the city of Atlanta, and practice social distancing where and whenever practical. These are also the same guidelines that you can find in the very first stage. The difference is that now, in the city of Atlanta, small private social gatherings of no more than 10 people are allowed. Businesses like restaurants are still urged to continue delivery and curbside takeout as options, and other businesses to maintain teleworking arrangements. Now, if metrics continue to trend in the right direction, the mayor said she will move the city into Phase 3, which is also known as maintain. On the other hand, if metrics trend negatively, the mayor said the city will go back to Phase 1, also known as stay at home. Now, as of today, the State Department of Health is reporting just over 294,000 cases here in Georgia, with 6,300 deaths, and an average % positive rate as of today is 8.2%. In Atlanta, Georgia, Philip Toledo, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Anna.
Thank you, Philip, for your report. So it seemed like the whole state was practically open. How does the mayor's reopening plan fit in with the rest of the state?
Thank you, Anna. That's a good question, because it can be a bit confusing, because you have the city of Atlanta and then all these other cities and municipalities around it that all basically from a local government level, they can make their own requirements for this, because at the statewide, the governor has only said, basically that, no large gatherings over 50, and, I want everyone to wear a mask. There was this whole thing where in the city of Atlanta, Mayor Bottoms announced a mask mandate, and then the governor sent out an executive order that said, no, you can't do that, and there was this lawsuit, and it was kind of a confusing time, but since then, the governor's backed off a little bit and allowed the cities to do their own thing. But back to your original point, the majority of the Atlanta area here, at least, it does feel like things are, I can't say back to normal, but there is a lot of activity, somewhat like normal since before the pandemic hit.
Yeah, I can tell you, well, that's good that your positivity rate is, below 10%, because as we know, that's the CDC guideline, right, to move forward. Hopefully it doesn't trend negatively. How about you? How have you been all this time? Are you back to work? Are you still working from home?
It's definitely a mix in my family. If it were up to me, we'd have our own phase one, everybody stay at home. But my wife is a teacher, and so she's in one of the school districts that is doing virtual learning right now, but they will be welcoming the students back into the facility, if all goes well, here within the next month or so. For myself, I've been kind of rotating in and out of the office, mostly teleworking. But, since the pandemic is, affecting everybody, I've also started doing some grocery delivery on the side, to help other people out, but then also to add a little bit of cushion to help, because my 2-year-old definitely is starting to grow his appetite. And so we want to make sure that, we can have all that fun stuff here for him.
Yes. So enjoy your 2-year-old, Philip. They do grow really fast. Before you know it, you won't be sharing your meals with him anymore. He's going to want his own. So, all right. Well, thank you for your report, Philip. Take care.
Thank you, Anna.
Coming up, updates from Swarthmore, Pennsylvania, Sicklerville, New Jersey, and Baton Rouge, Louisiana. We'll return shortly. This is Eagle News America.
Pag-asa ng masa ay narito na, halinaan ating pagsaluhan. Ang happy show na pinagigiliwan, ang pinakamasayang tambayan, higit sa sorpresa at pangkabuhayan. Lahat kasali sa happy time, happy time, happy time, happy time, happy time, happy time na. Lahat kasali sa happy time, happy time, happy time, happy time, happy time, happy time na. Let's start the happy time. Pilipinas, ang oras na, tara na't sumali at makiyaw ng maibsan ang galit ng iyong problema. Bakit di mo ay mahalaga sa hamon ng buhay at sa anong may kasama ka sa laban ng tawanan? Ang happy show na pinagigiliwan, ang pinakamasayang tambayan, higit sa sorpresa at pangkabuhayan. Lahat kasali sa happy time, happy time, happy time, happy time, happy time, happy time na. Lahat kasali sa happy time, happy time, happy time, happy time, happy time, happy time na. Let's start the happy time. Let's start the happy time.
Welcome back. You are watching Eagle News America. I'm Anna Kui in Las Vegas. If you see a spotted lanternfly, Pennsylvania's Department of Agriculture says, kill it, squash it, smash it, get rid of it for the sake of food security. In Swarthmore, Bureau Chief Mila Simbulan has the details. Mila?
Thanks, Anna. Yes, that's right. Squash it or report it. That's what Department of Agriculture is asking Pennsylvanians to do when they spot a spotted lanternfly. First found in Pennsylvania in 2014, the spotted lanternfly is capable of destroying an entire grape vineyards and damaging fruit orchards, hops, walnuts, hardwoods, and decorative trees. These industries contribute billions annually to Pennsylvania's economy. According to an economic impact study completed earlier this year by Penn State's College of Agricultural Sciences, this bad bug could cost Pennsylvania up to $324 million annually in economic impact, with a loss of more than 2,800 jobs if not contained. Why is it hard to destroy them? Here's Pennsylvania Department of Agriculture Secretary Russell Redding to tell us more about it. Take a look.
The problem with this pest is that there's no known major predators. So it keeps moving, right? So only thing we can do is try to contain it and suppress it while the science goes to work.
In addition to endangering agriculture, the spotted lanternfly threatens our ability to enjoy the outdoors during spring and summer months. They're known to swarm in the air, cover trees and coat decks, and play equipment with their excrement, known as honeydew. Honeydew, along with sap from weeping plant wounds that result from feeding of spotted lanternfly. This can attract bees and other insects and also stimulate growth of mold and other fungi. Here's Richard Rush, Dean of Penn State College of Agriculture Sciences, to tell us more about the impact of spotted lanternflies to vineyards and lumber industry. Take a look.
As Secretary Redding pointed out, it's really the adults that are the most troublesome stage. They move the most. They're the ones that fly into vineyards in big numbers and suck the life out of the vineyards. They're the ones that spray eggs onto other hosts and other commodities like Christmas trees they don't even feed on. But not only is the threat spreading the pest, but also it has led to some wholesalers rejecting trees from Pennsylvania.
There are already 14 counties that has widespread insect populations and 12 more announced in early March of this year that has isolated infestations. The Pennsylvania Department of Agriculture and Penn State College of Agricultural Sciences have worked collaboratively with the USDA over the past several years to educate the public and slow the spread of spotted lanternfly in Pennsylvania. With Penn State leading research and education efforts, Pennsylvania Department of Agriculture and USDA teams of inspectors follow up on reports of spotted lanternfly in Pennsylvania's newly quarantined counties and counties outside of the quarantine zone, treating confirmed sighting as appropriate. These teams also conduct proactive surveys for the invasive insect to suppress new populations. USDA's Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service, or APHIS, is also working with the Pennsylvania Department of Agriculture, universities, private industry, and other government agencies to advance effective strategies for battling the spotted lanternfly. Here's Carlos Martinez, Executive Director of Field Operations, USDA APHIS, to tell us more about their strategy in battling the spotted lanternfly.
Pests like this, you can't just go after with one chemical, one technique. As we learn more, we'll add more tools to the toolbox. We'll add more chemicals. We'll add more new survey tools. If we can add a biological control component, we'll add all those tools slowly, and hopefully we'll get control of this pest and be able to really have an impact on this down the road.
COVID-19 already has a huge impact on Pennsylvania's issue on food security. And this small but mighty threat to the agriculture industry is something that we should not take for granted. Here's Secretary Redding to tell us more about how we can help to mitigate the spread.
As people are on the move in the fall, whether you're going to camping sites, you're going to the hunt, you go out to hunt, you're doing things as a family activity, please make sure that you're taking all the precautions of checking the vehicle, check your materials, that you're not transporting this someplace else to manage.
So to those Pennsylvanians out there, if you see a spotted lanternfly, squash it, smash it, just get rid of it. In Smartmore, Pennsylvania, Myla Simbulan, Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Anna.
Thank you, Myla, for your report. But now, I'm curious, I've never heard of lanternflies, and I just saw it on your report, what it looks like. But can you tell us a little bit more about them? I mean, where do they come from?
Sure, Anna. Some people may think that it's a moth, but it's not a moth. It's really an Asian plant hopper known as the spotted lanternfly. This is an insect that native to China, Bangladesh, and Vietnam. And in 2014, it was found in Berks County here in Pennsylvania. And since then, this lanternfly is also found in New Jersey, Maryland, Delaware, Virginia, and West Virginia. So it's all around almost the East Coast. Anna?
That's pretty scary. I mean, you mentioned, in addition to the pandemic and the virus that's going around, just another thing to, for people to worry about over there. I mean, have you actually seen one, Myla?
No, Anna, I haven't seen that type of lanternfly, and hopefully I won't able to see one because I don't know what I'm going to do. I know I keep on telling to smash it, right, to get rid of it, but I don't know. Probably if I see it, I'll just run.
But you better get one of your, those fly swatters, or better yet, those. I don't know if you've seen one. We actually had one. The one that the electric one.
Yes,
those work.
yes.
Those work really well. Well,
Yes,
I mean, on a positive note, what have you been doing? I know you cook a lot and you do a lot of recipes. Any new recipes that you've played with recently?
Well, actually, I'm into baking now. This pandemic is really getting me out of the box because we've been trying. I've been teaching my daughter also to bake cakes. And it's something that we do together now. We bake some cakes now. Like I don't know if you're familiar with ube. We now bake ube cake. Those desserts, those cakes that we don't usually get here in the store here in the East Coast. So we're trying to make those these days. Yes, Anna.
Well, that's nice. That's nice. A daughter and mom bonding time over ube. We have an ube craze here in Las Vegas. So, well, you might want to share one of your recipes with us then. Thank you, Myla. Take care over there, okay?
Thanks, Anna. You too.
Attention drivers, the New Jersey Motor Vehicle Commission extends deadlines and streamlines processes during pandemic. In Sicklerville, Eagle News correspondent Mayan Manzano-Guerzon has the details. Mayan?
Thank you, Anna. New Jersey Governor Murphy signed legislation A4486, which authorizes the New Jersey Motor Vehicle Commission, or NVC, to use stored driver's license or identification card photos for longer than 8 years and limits certain appointment times at NVC locations to senior citizens and persons with certain medical conditions during COVID-19 pandemic. The governor also signed A4520, which temporarily extends deadlines to register vehicles and obtain driver's licenses for new state residents during the COVID-19 public health emergency. Governor Murphy said the temporary but necessary closure of our MVC facilities earlier this year has resulted in an undeniable burden on many residents. Under the leadership of Chief Administrator Sue Fulton, the MVC has made great progress in providing residents with the services that they need under unprecedented circumstances. The legislation will reduce wait times and allow vulnerable populations to have the access they need to obtain critical services. MVC Chief Administrator Sue Fulton said that over the past year, MVC more than doubled their online transactions. A4486 will allow even more New Jerseyans to skip the trip to the motor vehicle centers. She said that they continue to work collaboratively with their legislative partners and governor's office to overcome the obstacles posed by COVID-19, reduce wait times, and keep New Jerseyans on the road. A4486 extends the validity of all driver's license and identification card photographs from a maximum of 8 years to a maximum of 12 years. The bill further allows residents 65 years of age or older to be eligible to use a stored photograph for each standard driver's license or standard identification card renewal. The legislation also requires the Chief Administrator during the COVID-19 public health emergency to reserve 1 day per week or a certain time each day or each week to be determined by the Chief Administrator at certain Commission agency locations to offer appointments exclusively to the following individuals to register a newly purchased, newly acquired, or transferred motor vehicle. 1 is to senior citizens. 2, customers who, due to a medical condition diagnosed by a licensed medical doctor or osteopathic physician and evidenced by proof in a form prescribed by the chief administrator, cannot wear masks or face coverings. A4520 provides that a person who is allowed to operate motor vehicle as a non-resident has 120 days or up to from 60 days to obtain a New Jersey driver's license and to register a motor vehicle upon becoming a resident of the state. If that person becomes a resident during the coronavirus 2019 public health emergency, which is defined as a period of time during which Executive Order number 103 of 2020 and any subsequent executive order extending the public health emergency is in effect, the legislation will take effect immediately. Meanwhile, here is today's statistical report of New Jersey's COVID-19 cases. According to the Department of Health of New Jersey, there are 306 new positive cases reported today, bringing a statewide total of 196,634 New Jerseyans tested positive. Sadly, we have 4 new deaths, pushing the total to 14,242 fatalities. New Jersey remains on stage 2 of its road to recovery. And Anna, for some weather update, it's currently 10:28 in the evening here in New Jersey, and it's mostly cloudy. Our temperature is 70 degrees Fahrenheit or 21 degrees Celsius. The high today was forecast as 78 degrees Fahrenheit or 26 degrees Celsius. In Sicklerville, New Jersey, May and Manzano Garzon, Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Anna.
Thank you, Mayanne, for your report. And I'm sorry if I missed it, but when did the New Jersey MVC reopen? And what's their current situation now?
Anna, New Jersey MVC reopened actually 2 months ago, and they are still trying to and actually struggling to overcome the backlog that accumulated during the number of months that they have been closed. And this legislation definitely will really provide a great deal of relief, not just to the MVC staff, or workers, employees, but most importantly to New Jerseyans, especially the seniors, Anna, and the new residents as well. Anna?
Yes, well, thank you, Mayanne. That's good that they're making those accommodations for the special population. Thank you, Mayanne. Take care. We'll see you again next time. The state of Louisiana enters phase 3 of its COVID-19 mandate as Governor John Bel Edwards declares a state of emergency for Tropical Storm Sally. In Baton Rouge, Eagle News correspondent Monique Velasco has the report.
Thank you, Anna, and hello from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. On Saturday, Louisiana Governor John Bel Edwards declared a state of emergency in advance of Tropical Storm Sally, which is predicted to strengthen to a hurricane that could impact Louisiana early Monday. The National Weather Service has issued hurricane and tropical storm watches for areas of southeast Louisiana. Governor Edwards advised residents to please stay weather aware for the next several days and heed the directions of your local officials. This storm has the potential to be very serious. Barely 2 weeks ago, Louisiana suffered a devastating blow when Hurricane Laura came ashore as the strongest hurricane ever to make landfall in Louisiana history, leaving a trail of destruction in its path. When combined with the COVID-19 pandemic, this can make us all weary. I implore Louisianans to take their preparations seriously. The Governor's Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness is monitoring the storm and has provided preparedness tips on its website, getagameplan.org. Residents should check their emergency supplies are enough to sustain each family member for at least 3 days. The website mentions supply kit items that include a 3 to 5 day supply of water, 1 gallon per person per day, and food that won't spoil. a supply of face coverings, hand sanitizers, and disinfectant wipes due to COVID-19 concerns. 1 change of clothing and footwear per person, and 1 blanket or sleeping bag per person. A first aid kit that includes your family's prescription medications. Emergency tools including a battery-powered radio, flashlight, and plenty of extra batteries. An extra set of car keys and a credit card, cash or traveler's checks. Sanitation, supplies, and special items for infant, elderly, or disabled family members and pets. The Governor's Office will share more severe weather and COVID-19 updates by texting LA.gov to 67283. Just before the disaster declaration, Governor Edwards announced Friday that Louisiana's COVID-19 response is moving to phase 3. Some businesses such as restaurants, churches, salons, spas, gyms, and other businesses can open at a maximum of 75% occupancy. With social distancing in place, the new order will expire on October 9. Governor Edwards posted on his Twitter, "I want the people of Louisiana to know that moving into phase 3 does not mean that COVID-19 is no longer a problem for us because, in fact, it is." He is urging all Louisianans to follow the guidance, wear their mask, and avoid going out when they are showing symptoms. He stated, "If we see a spike in cases, we may be forced to go back to a more restrictive phase 2. In Baton Rouge, Louisiana, I'm Monique Velasco, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Anna.
Thank you, Monique. Up next, updates from North Hills, California. Eagle News America will return in a moment. Stay with us.
Ate, bilisan mo, alas 12 na! Alas 12 na! Alas 12 na ba?
Alas 12 na nga!
Let's start the happy time! Let's start the happy time!
This is Eagle News America. I'm Anna Cui in Las Vegas. In Compton, 2 Los Angeles County Sheriff's deputies are ambushed and shot multiple times by unidentified gunmen. In North Hills, Rafaela Tigno reports.
Thank you, Anna. 2 Los Angeles County Sheriff's deputies were ambushed and shot multiple times by unidentified gunmen in Compton, California. Los Angeles County offers a $100,000 reward for information leading to the arrest and conviction of the suspect. Yesterday night, at around 7 p.m., 2 Los Angeles County Sheriff's deputies were shot multiple times by a gunman while the officers were sitting in their patrol vehicle at the Compton terminal of the MTA Blue Line. According to law enforcement, the suspect approached the deputy's vehicle and opened fire without warning or cause. The culprit, who is still at large, is described as a black male, 28 to 30 years old, wearing dark-colored clothing. In a grainy surveillance video, an individual can be seen in the background walking away once the gunman begins running from the scene. It's not clear if the individual is simply a passerby, but authorities are asking that if anyone saw or knows anything about the shooting, to call LA County Sheriff's Department Homicide Bureau at 323-890-5500, or if they wish to remain anonymous, to contact Crime Stoppers by dialing 800-222-8477. A $100,000 reward approved by the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors is being offered for information regarding this incident that guides to an arrest and conviction. In a press conference, LA County Sheriff Alex Villanueva, described the incident as an ambush shooting carried out in a cowardly fashion and asked that the public pray for the recovery of the critically wounded officers. Let's listen in to part of his statement. Take a look.
Good evening, everyone. At approximately 7 p.m. this evening, at the Compton terminal of the Blue Line, the MTA Blue Line, there was two deputies who were ambushed by a gunman in a cowardly fashion. They were both critically injured, multiple gunshot wounds. They are currently being treated for at the hospital. So I want everyone to have a prayer for them, for their recovery at this time. And I'll have a homicide captain, Ken Wagner, will provide more details on the status of the investigation as is happening right now. And this is just a sober reminder that this is it's a dangerous job.
Latest reports identified the deputies as one male and one female. Both suffered multiple gunshot wounds and were undergoing surgery. Disturbingly, in a tweet from Los Angeles County Sheriffs, protesters were reported as blocking the entrance and exit of the emergency room of the hospital where the officers were taken. According to the tweet, protesters were yelling, quote, "We hope they die," referring to the officers who had been shot. Deputies at the hospital ordered the unlawful assembly and dispersed and arrested one adult male for refusing to comply and another adult female who reportedly ignored commands to stay back but instead rushed officers. Both individuals were charged with resisting arrest. President Donald Trump also weighed in, tweeting, "Animals that must be hit hard," condemning the attack. In North Hills, California, Rafaela Tigno, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Anna.
Thank you for that report, Rafaela. Now, there are reports that the woman arrested outside a hospital with protesters is actually a member of the press. What information do you have on that?
Anna, KPCC, a local public radio station, has claimed that their reporter, Josie Wing, was the one who was arrested. The story as to why the arrest happened is still being sorted out. But on Miss Wing's Twitter page today, she tweeted that she's out of county jail and headed back home. She also stated that she was recording the exchanges between the law enforcement and the protesters outside the hospital where the two deputies who were shot were taken to that night. Although she had her press identification on her, she said that she was arrested with the charge of obstructing a peace officer. Anna.
All right. Well, thank you, Rafaela, for your report. Stay safe out there. Now let's continue to thank our healthcare workers, first responders, and essential workers with a round of applause. We appreciate all of you. That is today's Eagle News America. Thanks for joining us. I'm Anna Kui, and we live in interesting times.
Magandang umaga Pilipinas, ngayon ay Lunes, Setyembre 14, 2020. Narito ang mga balitang pumapagaspas saan mang panig ng Pilipinas. Ako po si Angela Palmones. Ito ang Agila, Pilipinas. Sa ulo ng mga balita, COVID-19 cases sa bansa lumampas na sa 261,000 mark, 20,472 recoveries na itala naman ng Department of Health. National Food Policy ng bansa ilalabas na sa susunod na buwan. Malacanang, tikom ang bibig sa panawagang bigyan na rin ng presidential pardon si retired Major General Jubito Palparan. Mga internet service providers binalaan sa kanilang mabagal at pumapalyang serbisyo ng internet sa publiko. Sa balitang probinsya, mga sibilyan na nadamay sa bakbakan ng Abu Sayyaf at militar sa Zamboanga, Sibugay, nasa evacuation center pa rin. At sa balitang abroad, 1 toneladang cocaine na sabat ng mga otoridad sa Canary Island. Sa detalye ng mga balita, lumampas na ng 261,000 ang COVID cases sa bansa matapos na makapagtala ang Department of Health ng karagdagang 3,372 cases kahapon. Ayon sa DOH, umabot na ngayon sa 261,216 ang total COVID-19 cases sa bansa, kung saan nasa 49,277 ang active cases. Sa hanay ng active cases, 87.6% ang mild, 8.8% ang asymptomatic, 1.4% ang severe, at 2.2% lamang ang kritikal. Sa 3,372 na bagong kaso, 1,307 nagmula sa National Capital Region, 240 ang galing ng Cavite, 207 ang mula Laguna, 199 ang mula Negros Occidental, at 145 naman ang galing sa Bulacan. Pumalo naman sa 207,568 ang bilang ng recoveries matapos makapagtala ang DOH ng karagdagang 20,472 na gumaling sa sakit. Samantala, 79 naman ang naitalang karagdagang nasawi dahil sa COVID-19, kaya umabot na ngayon sa 4,371 ang bilang ng mga namamatay dahil sa virus. Samantala, 13 ang napaulat na bagong nagpositibong Pilipino sa COVID-19 sa ibang bansa. Batay sa datos ng Department of Foreign Affairs, nasa 10,181 ang mga Pilipinong kumpirmadong nagpositibo na sa virus mula sa 77 bansa at rehiyon. Mula rito, 2,982 ang patuloy na nagpapagamot sa iba't ibang ospital. 10 naman ang bagong naulat na gumaling, kaya 6,431 ang overseas Filipino workers na nakarecover sa sakit o na-discharge na ng ospital. Samantala, wala namang napaulat na nasawing overseas Filipino, kaya 768 pa rin ang COVID-19 related deaths. Pinakamarami pa rin ang naitalang confirmed cases sa bahagi ng Middle East, Africa. Gayon din, meron itong 7,002 na kaso. Sumusunod dito ang Europa na may 1,169 confirmed cases. Nasa 805 naman ang kaso ng Amerika at 1,205 sa Asia Pacific region. Nadagdagan pa ang bilang ng mga health worker na dinapuan na rin ng COVID-19 sa loob ng nagdaang linggo. Sa ulat ng Department of Health, pumalo na ng 8,494 ang bilang ng mga medical frontliners na dinapuan ng COVID-19 matapos itong madagdagan ng 1,140 noong 12 ng Setyembre. Aabot naman sa 7,710 ang total recovery sa mga health workers. Ngunit umakyat ng 56 ang kabang bilang ng mga frontliners na namatay, makaraang madagdagan ng 16 na iba pa. May 728 na medical workers naman ang active cases at nagpapagaling na o dili kaya ay naka-quarantine. Ayon sa daily report ng COVID-19 ng Department of Health, karamihan sa mga COVID-19 cases na ito ay naitala sa mga nurse na may 2,935 infections, doktor na may 1,613, 656 naman ang nursing assistants, 383 ang medical technologies at 192 ang midwives. Kasama rin sa naturang coronavirus tally ang halos 500 non-medical personnel tulad ng mga security guard, administrative staff at utility workers. Nadagdagan din ang bilang ng mga kumpirmadong kaso ng COVID-19 sa Philippine National Police o PNP. Sa huling datos mula sa PNP, ito nung linggo at 13 ng Setyembre, umakyat na ng 5,060 ang kabuang bilang ng mga tinamaan ng COVID-19 sa hanay ng pambansang pulisya. Sa nasabing bilang, merong 3,623 na mga pulisang nakarecover o gumaling sa sakit. Ang COVID-19 related deaths naman ay nananatili sa 16. Ang bilang ng probable case ng COVID-19 sa PNP, 758, 3,368 naman ang suspected cases. Nagkaisa ang lahat ng mga Metro Manila mayors na isara sa publiko ang privado at mga pampublikong sementeryo sa kanilang nasasakupan mula October 29 hanggang November 4. Sinabi ni Metro Manila Council Chair at Parañaque City Mayor Edwin Olivares, batay sa napagkasunduan ng mga alkalde sa buong Metro Manila, isasara ang mga sementeryo simula October 29 hanggang November 4. Nilalayon itong makatiyak na hindi dadagsa sa mga sementeryo ang publiko sa panahong yun at maiwasan ang pagkalat ng COVID-19. Kaya hinihikayat nilang publiko na gawin na muna ang pagdalaw simula sa mga panahong ito. Patuloy ding magpapatupad ang physical distancing sa mga sementeryo sa Metro Manila na nakasailalim pa rin sa General Community Quarantine. Mahigpit na rin ang security ngayon pa lamang sa mga naturang libingan. Simula naman ngayong araw, tatanggap ang Department of the Interior and Local Government o DILG ng mga nais maging contact tracer. Ito'y kasunod na rin ang paglagda noong nakaraang linggo ng Bayanihan to Recover as One Act. Sa isang statement, sinabi ni Interior Secretary Dardo Anyo na makatutulong ang Bayanihan 2 para mas mapabilis ang contact tracing ng bansa sa mga biktima ng COVID-19. Ang 50,000 na makukuhang bagong contact tracer ay tatalaga ng ahensya sa contact tracing teams ng bawat local government unit sa buong bansa. Pinakamarami pa rin ang itatalaga ng DILG sa National Capital Region na makakakuha ng 19.2% ng mga contact tracers. Umabot na sa 19,772 ang bagong kaso ng COVID-19 na naitala naman sa Central Visayas dahil nakapagtala pa ng dagdag na 64 na bagong kaso ng virus. Ayon sa Department of Health Central Visayas Center for Health Development, sa 19,772 na total confirmed cases ng COVID-19 sa buong rehiyon, 1,549 ang nananatiling aktibo. Umabot naman sa 1,217 ang bilang ng mga nasawi. Habang nakapagtala ng dagdag na bilang na recoveries na umabot ang 161, dahilan para umabot na sa 16,668 ang bilang ng mga gumaling sa sakit. Malaking bilang pa rin ang kaso ng COVID-19 ang nasa Central Visayas. At ito nga ay pinangungunahan Cebu City, nakapagtala ng 9,742. 385 ang aktibong kaso naman sa Cebu City. 185 sa Lapu-Lapu City, 256 sa Mandawi City, 112 sa Bohol, 583 sa buong Cebu, at 28 naman sa Negros Occidental, habang nananatili sa 0 ang Siquijor. Mahigit naman sa 6,500 ang bilang ng mga nahuling lumabag sa quarantine measures sa Navotas City simula nitong Agosto. Batay sa datos ng Navotas City Police, may 6,566 na ang nahuhuling lumabag sa mga umiiral na quarantine measures. Sa nasabing bilang, 4,103 ang walang suot o hindi tama ang pagsusuot ng face mask. Meron namang 2,064 na nahuling lumabag sa curfew, habang 399 ang nahuli dahil sa paglabag sa 1 hanggang 2 metrong physical distancing. Kahapon September 13, meron pang 70 nahuli. 83 dito ay pawang nasa 8 gulang, habang 7 naman ang menor de edad. Interagency Task Force on Zero Hunger ilalabas na sa susunod na buwan ang National Food Policy ng bansa para labanan ang problema ng kagutuman. Detalye mula kay Bin Pascua.
Nakatakdang ilabas sa susunod na buwan ng Interagency Task Force on Zero Hunger ang National Food Policy. Sa isang virtual briefing, sinabi ni Cabinet Secretary Carlo Nograles na ito ang kasunod na problema ng buong mundo pagkatapos ng COVID-19 pandemic.
Nasabi po ng lahat ng mga eksperto ng mundo, United Nations at ibang international organizations, kasunod ng COVID-19 ang sunod po nating problema, ang problema ng kagutuman at problema ng poverty and hunger.
Layon ng nasabing polisiya na tugunan ang problema ng bansa, ang kagutom. Dito inilatag ng IATF ang ukol sa magiging hakbang ng gobyerno para tumugon rito.
Yung National Food Policy dapat naka-map out po dyan sa National Food Policy natin. Lahat ng mga strategies, programs, activities, projects, and policies natin, lahat ng polisiya natin na may kinalaman sa pagtugon sa problema ng kagutuman.
Una rito, iniutos ni Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte ang pagbuo ng National Food Policy na layong ilatag ang mga priority program ng gobyerno na layong magbigay ng solusyon para rito. Ito ay bahagi ng pagpaplano upang matamo ang zero hunger sa taong 2030. Para sa Eagle News, Vin Pascua, we live in interesting times.
At para tugunan naman ang lumalaking bilang ng mga walang trabaho, maglulunsad o naglunsad simula ngayong araw na ito ng online job fair ang Civil Service Commission. Sino-sino nga bang qualify dito? Alamin natin mula kay Assistant Commissioner Ariel Ronquillo ng Civil Service Commission. Commissioner, magandang tanghali po sa inyo.
Yes, Congressman Angel, magandang tanghali sa iyo at sa lahat ng iyong tagapanood.
Nag-umpisa na kanina, no? Ang job fair.
Apo.
Gaano karami ho ang ating hinahanap na mga bagong magtatrabaho sa gobyerno?
Okay. Meron hong mga agencies na nag-participate sa job fair. Ang total po niya nationwide ay 498 agencies. At sa number ng agencies na yan, we have a total number of vacant positions na 4,617. So sa job fair po, yan po yung mga trabaho na available para sa ating mga kababayan na qualified. No? 4,617 positions. Nationwide po yan.
Okay. Kinakailangan lamang civil service eligible sila?
Karaniwan pong pangailangan yan sa pagtatrabaho sa gobyerno. Pero meron pong mga positions na hindi naman po kinakailangan ng eligibility. Depende po kasi sa position eh. Meron mga position na, for example, ang kailangan lisensya. So, hindi mo kailangan ng eligibility doon. Meron din po mga professional staff na bar passer or board passer, hindi na nila kailangan ng eligibility doon. Dahil considered na sila as eligible because they have passed the board or bar exam. Yun po, makikita naman po nila kung ano yung mga qualification standards ng mga positions na yan kapag binisita po nila yung website, no, na nag-a-announce nitong mga vacancies na to.
So, not necessarily din na degree holder? Basta kung halimbawa, driver, di ba kailangan may lisensya lang?
Apo, meron pong mga qualification standards na nakalagay doon. Ang qualification standards nag-umpisa sa education, experience, training, and eligibility. Yung education requirement, karaniwan, kailangan din po yan. Pero merong mga position po na mababa po yung education requirement at ang kailangan po, lisensya, katulad nga po ng driver. So, para po sa kaalaman ng lahat, bisitahin na lang po nila yung website. Makikita po nila doon yung qualification standards ng bawat position. Malaman nila kung qualified sila o hindi.
Permanent ba yan? O contractual? Anong nature ng employment nila? Kung sakasakali.
Ganito po yan, no? Kapag na-meet mo yung qualification standards ng position, lahat ng qualification standards na nakalagay doon, dapat ang status ng appointment na issue sa'yo ay permanent. Kasi nasa batas po yun, if you meet all the requirements, dapat permanent ka. Kaya kung hindi ka naman qualified o wala ka kasi halimbawa, wala kang eligibility, tapos ikaw yung nakuha dahil walang iba nag-apply, hindi po pwedeng permanent yun. Magiging magiging temporary. So, depende rin po kung anong kakalabasan doon sa pag-i-screen ng mga candidates. Doon din po nakasalalay kung anong status ng appointment ang maibibigay doon sa mga nag-apply.
Oo. Ang sabi kasi nila, ngayong panahon ng pandemya, pinakamaswerte yung nagtatrabaho sa gobyerno kasi tuloy-tuloy ang kanilang sweldo. Merong mga batas na sinusunod para wala ring reduction ng remuneration o ng sweldo. So, malamang maraming magkaroon talaga ng interest na pumasok sa gobyerno. Ano ang hahanapin nilang website?
Well, bisitahin na lang po nila yung website ng Civil Service Commission, csc.gov.ph, at ide-direct na po sila doon kung ano yung link para makita nila po yung job fair.
Pero ang kagandahan dito, Civil Service Commission website na lang pupuntahan nila, na-access na nila yung lahat ng government agencies na may mga vacancy.
Yun po mga government agencies na may vacancy, nag-participate po doon sa job fair. Kaya pag in-access po nila yung site, makikita na nila agad yung mga agencies na may bakante, mag-a-apply na din po sila online. At kung makita po yung application nila, online din po ang screening. Pwede po silang ma-screen agad-agad ng agency na nangangailangan ng mga position.
So dito, ano bang nature na anong language na gagamitin sa interview? English ba? Filipino? Kailangan ba tall, dark, and never mind? Kailangan ba nakabihis during the interview? Mas mabuti nagkakaliwanagan, Commissioner.
Alam nyo, pagdating mo sa lingwahe, basta nagkakaintindihan kayo, pwede na po yun. It can be English, Tagalog o kaya vernacular ninyo sa inyong lugar. Kasi nationwide po ito eh. Baka kung nag-apply sila doon sa kanilang lugar, yung interview na gagawin ay sa lingwahe nila doon. Pwede po yun. Wala pong hard and fast rule. O ngayon sa damit naman po, siguro po kung naghahanap tayo ng trabaho, mas maganda po na presentable tayo kapag tayo doon sa pinag-aaral.
Samantalahin ko na rin yung pagkakataon. Hindi po ang Civil Service Commission ang dahilan kung bakit may maraming vacancy sa gobyerno. Ano? Hindi naman kasalanan siguro ng Civil Service Commission kung may mga bakanting pwesto sa mga ahensya ng pamahalaan na Commissioner.
Tama po yan. Kasi po, ang pag-a-appoint po, responsibilidad po yan ng mga ahensya mismo. In fact, ang Supreme Court po, on 2 occasions, pinagsabihan po kami na hindi daw po kami pwedeng makialam pagdating sa appointing power ng heads of agencies. Kasi ang appointment, sabi ng Supreme Court, is essentially subject to the discretion of the appointing authority. Ang role lang po ng Civil Service Commission, tingnan kung valid ba o tama ba yung appointment na in-issue o kung qualified ba yung in-appoint. Pero kung i-appoint ba o mag-a-appoint ba, heads of agencies po ang ang merong prerogative, hindi po Civil Service.
Oo. Although, pagka may nakita kayong mga pagkakamali sa hiring procedure, doon nyo i-call yung attention na hindi ito dapat na-hire sa gobyerno.
Tama po yun. Hindi lang po i-call yung attention. We can disapprove the appointment. So kung halimbawa po, hinayad nila na hindi sumunod sa proseso, o kaya hindi naman qualified, maliwanag yung qualification standards, pag isinabit po sa amin yung appointment, pati-disapprove po yan. At kapag na-disapprove yung appointment, hindi po pwede magpatuloy yung in-appoint na yun.
Pati ba yung mga hinahire ng mga LGU dumadaan sa review ng Civil Service Commission?
Lahat po. Basta hindi po presidential appointee, dumadaan po lahat yung sa amin. Yung appointment po, dumadaan po lahat sa amin. Pero yung po mga contracts of service at saka job order, hindi po dumadaan sa amin yan. Kasi sabi rin ng Supreme Court, wala kaming jurisdiction when it comes to job orders and contracts of service.
Pero halimbawa, mga extension worker sa education, sa health, sa agriculture, yun ang may hiring capacity or appointing capacity ang LGU. Hindi na kailangan dumaan pa sa review ng Civil Service Commission.
Kung yun po ay nasa opisina ng local government unit at i-issuehan po ng appointment, dadaan po sa amin yun. Kasi po kapag appointment ang pinag-uusapan, ibig sabihin merong mga proseso na dapat gawin at merong mga qualification standards na dapat masunod. Yun po kasing mga yun, tinitingnan namin kung nasunod. Kaya po lahat yan dadaan sa amin.
Kasi may notion na itong mga posisyon na ito, kadalasan nagiging hiring process ng mga kamag-anak ng mga local government executives natin, Commissioner.
Iyan po kasi meron naman ho tayo panuntunan tungkol sa pag-hire ng mga relatives. Hindi ho pwede ang magkakamag-anak, yung kamag-anak, i-hire yung kamag-anak because it may violate the prohibition against nepotism. No? Maliban na lang po kung kasama sila dun sa mga tinatawag natin ng mga exemptions. Pero generally po, hindi po pwedeng i-appoint yung kamag-anak doon sa mga posisyon na siya rin yung mag-a-appoint. Nepotism po yan at malaking kasalanan po yun. In fact, ang parusa po dyan, dismissal from the service kapag ginawa nila yun.
Dapat talaga napapaalalahanan pa lang yung mga LGU na wag nilang basta-basta hinahire ang kanilang mga kamag-anak, lalong-lalo na sa mga sensitive positions. Ngayon, ang daming hindi qualified pero binibigyan ng kapangyarihang maging agriculture service extent. Kaya nagkakawindang-windang yung sektor ng agriculture natin. Anyway, siguro...
Kung liwanagin ko lang, may exceptions po doon. Kapag ang posisyon nangangailangan ng trust and confidence, hindi po nag-a-apply yung nepotism doon. Halimbawa po yung mga executive assistants, mga secretaries, pati po yung municipal or city administrators, although may qualification standards yun, pero isa po sa kailangan doon yung confidence ng appointing authority. Kaya pinapayagan po ang kamag-anak kapag mga ganong posisyon.
Commissioner, nasa inyong pagkakataon ngayon, again, please invite ang ating mga kababayan na naghahanap ng trabaho na maging bahagi nitong online job fair ng Civil Service Commission. Bahagi ito ng inyong anibersaryo, di ho ba?
Opo, itong buong buwan ng September ay pinagdiriwang po natin ang Philippine Civil Service Anniversary. 120th na po tayo. Ganoon na po tayo katagal. At itong pong linggo na to, Ang activity po natin bilang pagdiriwang ay ito nga pong online job fair. Kaya inaanyayahan ko po lahat ng ating mga kababayan na interesado at meron namang qualifications, bumisita po kayo sa website natin at para makita niyo po yung job fair. Nationwide po ito, kahit saan po kayo nandun, kung makita niyo po na may mga position doon na tingin niyo ay pwede kayo, applyan niyo po. At para mag-grab niyo po yung pagkakataon na makapaglingkod sa pamahalaan.
Commissioner Ronquillo, maraming salamat po. Magandang tanghali.
Maraming salamat po, Pong Angel.
Thank you. Si Assistant Commissioner Ariel Ronquillo ng Civil Service Commission. Magbabalik pang Agila, Pilipinas.
Do you want to earn a degree while you work? New Era University now offers Expanded Tertiary Education Equivalency and Accreditation Program, or ETIAP. ETIAP is an educational scheme that recognizes knowledge, skills, and prior learning obtained by individuals from non-formal and informal education experiences. It is implemented through deputized higher educational institutions like the New Era University that awards the appropriate degrees. Programs offered are the following: Master's Program, Masters of Arts in Education, major in Educational Management, Master's Program in Business Administration, Bachelor of Arts in Science, major in Political Science, Bachelor of Arts in Science, major in Mass Communication, Bachelor of Science in Education, major in Filipino, major in English, Bachelor of Science in Business Administration with majors in Human Resources Development, Marketing Management, and Financial Management. Beneficiaries must be Filipinos who have attained at least high school level of education. The program is flexible and you don't need to attend regular classes. Expanded Tertiary Education Equivalency and Accreditation Program, or ETIAP, is under the supervision of Dr. Nilo L. Rosas, the University President, and Professor Anita P. Santos, Director of ETIAP. For more information, contact the following: Christina Moreno, 0995-138-0786, or email cvmoreno@meu.edu.ph, or Arlene Sarmiento, 0906-298-9150, or email cedctl@meu.edu.ph. What are you waiting for? Let New Era University be your partner in achieving your dreams.
Tuloy tayo sa mga balita. Nakalis na ng bansa si U.S. Marine Lance Corporal Joseph Scott Pemberton matapos na isa-ilalim sa deportation. Sinabi ni Immigration spokesperson Dana Sandoval, umalis ang military plane na sinakyan ni Pemberton sa Ninoy Aquino International Airport alas 9:14 ng umaga kahapon. Ang deportation kay Pemberton ay kasunod naman ng paggagawad sa kanya ng Pangulong Duterte ng absolute pardon sa kasong pagpatay kay Jeffrey Laude noong 2014 sa Olongapo City. Una nang sinabi ng Pangulong Duterte na ginawaran niya ng absolute pardon si Pemberton dahil sa hindi umano't patas na pagtrato kaugnay ng kanyang conduct for good credit time allowance para sa pagpapalaya ng maaga. Samantala, sinabi ni Sandoval na kasama ni Pemberton na sumakay ng military plane ang ilang U.S. military personnel at mga opisyal ng U.S. Embassy at iniskortan din siya ng mga ahente ng immigration. Malacanang tikom naman ang bibig sa panawagang bigyan na rin ng presidential pardon si retired Major General Jovito Palparan tulad ni U.S. Marine Lance Corporal Joseph Scott Pemberton. Si Big Samintak sa detalye.
No comment ang Malacanang sa panawagang bigyan na rin ng presidential pardon si retired Major General Jovito Palparan na nakakulong sa New Bilibid Prison o NBP. Sinabi ni Presidential Spokesman Secretary Harry Roque, ang paggagawad ng pardon ay eksklusibong karapatan ng Pangulo na ginagarantiyahan ng saligang batas at hindi pwedeng kwestiyonin ng kahit na sino. Ayon kay Roque, kasalukuyang binubuno ni Palparan ang hatol ng hukuman dahil sa kasong kidnapping at pagpatay sa dalawang aktivistang estudyante ng University of the Philippines. Sinusulong ni dating DILG Secretary Rafael Alunan ang pagpapalaya kay Palparan sa pamagitan ng presidential pardon. Iginigit ni Alunan kung nabigyan ng absolute pardon si U.S. Marine Lance Corporal Joseph Pemberton na pumatay sa Pinoy transgender na si Jennifer Laude dapat ding mabigyan ng pardon si Palparan na sa buong panahon ng kanyang panunungkulan ay ginampanan ng kanyang tungkulin bilang sundalo na labanan ng mga kalaban ng Estado, lalo na ang mga rebeldeng komunista. Para sa Eagle News, Vic Somintak, we live in interesting times.
Sa iba pang mabalita, tiniyak naman ni Justice Secretary Menaldo Guevara na maisusumite ngayong araw ng Task Force PhilHealth kay Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte ang resulta ng investigasyon sa sinasabing corruption sa naturang ahensya. Ngayong araw magtatapos ang 30 araw na palugit na ibinigay ng Pangulo para matapos ang investigasyon. Ayon kay Guevara, kontento, satisfied sila sa report na kanilang ibibigay sa Malacanang. Tatangkinan niya ng kanilang report na maipresenta ang general environment o sitwasyon sa PhilHealth na nagkukonsente ng corruption at anomalya. Tutukuyin din na niya sa report ang mga partikular na katiwalian sa ahensya bunsod ng sistema sa PhilHealth. Ang DOJ ang lead agency sa binuong Interagency Task Force na nag-imbestiga sa mga alegasyon ng katiwalian sa PhilHealth. Miyembro ng Task Force ang Office of the Ombudsman, Commission on Audit, Civil Service Commission at Office of the President. Nakatuwang din sa investigasyon ang NBI, Anti-Money Laundering Council at ang PACC. Nais naman ni Senator Ramon Bong Revilla Jr. na patawan ng mas mabigat na parusa ang mga gumagawa ng cyberbullying at mga nagpapakalat ng fake news sa social media. Sinabi ni Revilla na sisimula ng Senate Committee on Public Information and Mass Media ang kanyang pagdinig sa mga nakapending na panukala hinggil dito. Kabilang sa panukala ay galing kay Senate President Vicente Soto na naglalayong patawan ng mas mabigat na parusa ang mga nagpapublish ng fake news sa internet at mabigyan ng kapangyarihan ng DOJ, NBI at PNP o takedown orders at pag-block laban sa mga lumalabag sa website o lumalabag na website at naglalaghala ng maling mga impormasyon. Nakababahala ayon sa senador na sa kabila ng batas sa cyberbullying, mas tumitindi pa ang pambubuli sa pamamagitan ng social media. Ayon pa sa mga babatas na biktima rin siya ng fake news at cyberbullying dahil sa sunod-sunod na mga pag-atake nang madawit siya sa pork barrel scam. Wala raw siyang balak ng palampasin ang ganitong issue. Katunayan ay nakikipag-ugnayan na siya sa PNP at NBI para mangalap ng karagdagang impormasyon laban sa mga individual o grupong nagpakalat ng maling impormasyon laban sa kanya. Iginit pa ng senador na wala siyang kinalaman sa alegasyon ng pagwaldas ng pork barrel. Katunayan na absuelto na nga siya ng Sandigan Bayan sa naturang issue. Samantala, mga internet service provider binalaan ng isang kongresista sa kanilang mabagal at pumapalayang serbisyo ng internet. Tale mula kay Eden Santos.
Nagbabala si AXIS Party List Representative Nina Taduran sa mga internet service provider. Bunga ng dumaraming reklamo sa social media kaugnay ng mga ISP na pumapalya sa kanilang serbisyo. Sinabi ng House Assistant Majority Leader na ang kabiguan nilang maibigay sa publiko ang tamang serbisyo ay mayahalin tulad sa pandaraya at maling patalastas. Anya, ang pagkakaroon ng maayos at mabilis na internet connectivity ay napakahalaga sa panahong ito na ang mga transaksyon ay kadalasang ginagawa sa internet gaya ng online classes, trabaho, meetings at tutorials. Dagdag pa ng kongresista, hindi nakapagtataka na dumami ang mga bagong internet subscription sa mga nakalipas na buwan sa ilalim ng new normal bunsod ng COVID-19 pandemic na ginawa namang kapital ng mga internet service provider para kumuha ng maraming subscribers kahit hindi na kaya dahilan upang maraming magreklamo sa social media sa masamang serbisyo ng internet connection na ibinibigay ng ISPs. Nanawagan ng mambabatas sa National Telecommunications Commission o NTC at sa mga kagawaran ng Information and Communications Technology at Trade and Industry na aksyonan ang napakalaking kakulangang ito ng mga ISP sa pagbibigay ng disenteng serbisyo. Ang Pilipinas umano ang may pinakamabilis na lumalaking populasyon ng gumagamit ng internet, pero ito rin ang may pinakamalalang serbisyo sa internet. Para sa Eagle News, Eden Santos, we live in interesting times.
Sa iba pang mga balita, nakatagdang magpatupad ang malakihang bawas presyo sa mga produktong petrolyo ang mga kumpanya ng langis. Batay sa advisory ng Uni Oil Petroleum Philippines, umabot sa 1.50 hanggang 1.60 ang matatapya sa kada litro ng diesel. habang 90 sentimos hanggang piso naman ang kabawasan sa bawat litro ng gasolina. Inaasahang magiging epektibo ang oil price rollback bukas, Martes, September 15. Muli namang nabawasan ang antas ng tubig sa Angat Dam at maging iba pang mga dam sa Luzon sa nakalipas na magdamag. Sa ulat na inilabas ng Pag-asa Hydrometeorology Division, ang antas ng tubig ng Angat Dam ay nasa 176.65 meters alas 6 ng umaga Lunes. Mas mababa ito sa antas kahapon na 177.21 meters. Bahagyan ding nabawasan ang antas ng tubig ng Ibod Dam na nasa 99.26 meters. Mas mababa sa antas kahapon, 99.30 meters. Habang nabawasan din ang antas ng tubig ng Lamesa Dam na nasa 79.04 meters. Mas mababa kaysa kahapon, 79.07 meters. Ang water level ng Binga at Kaliraya Dams ay nadagdagan habang nabawasan din ang tubig sa Ambuklao, San Roque at Magat Dams. Habang ang water level naman ng Pantabangan Dam nananatili sa 182.46 meters. Nakapagtala ng 15 volcanic earthquake sa Bulkang Kanlaon sa nakalipas na magdamag. Sa ulat ng Kanlaon Volcano Bulletin, ang PBOX, may naitala ring mahinang steaming activity sa bulkan. May taas na umabot ng 400 meters. Ang sulfur dioxide na naitala sa bulkan noong September 7 ay umabot naman ng 686 tons per day ang average. Nananatiling nakataas ang alert level 1 ng Bulkang Kanlaon, ibig sabihin, nananatiling abnormal ang aktibidad ng bulkan. Patuloy na pinapayuhan ng publiko, iwasan ang pagpasok sa permanent danger zone ng Kanlaon. Dinig naman ang magnitude 4.5 na lindol ang Davao Occidental. Ayon pa rin sa DOST PBOX, natukoy ang sentro ng lindol 287 kilometers southeast ng Sarangani kaninang alas 4:41 ng umaga. Tectonic ang origin ng lindol, may lalim na 33 kilometers. Walang naitalang pinsala sa naturang lindol at wala ring inaasahang aftershocks. Ang iba pang mga balita sa pagbabalik ng Agila, Pilipinas.
Hello there, I'm Alfred, and I'm a graduate of Bachelor of Science in Computer Science, batch of 2008 in New Era University. I'm currently working as an operations analyst in Autodesk.
Hi, I'm Earl Espanio, and I graduated with Bachelor of Science major in Computer Science in 2010. I am a consultant at Trinity Consulting, LLC.
Hi, I'm Ivy Nakapagal, Bachelor's of Computer Science graduate, year 2010. I'm currently working as a cybersecurity analyst in one of the largest telco here in New Zealand, Coast Park, NZ.
I'm Jorfran David Riego, a BS Computer Science graduate here in 15. As a legal analyst, I am tasked to read U.S. cases, specifically civil torts cases.
I am Melanie Rico Hermosa P, a Bachelor of Science and Computer Science graduate, year 2006.
I'm currently a software quality assurance engineer at FBI Systems here in Maryland, United States.
Hi, I'm Renzo Cruz. I'm a graduate of BS Computer Science, year 2012. I'm currently working abroad, and I'm working as a senior cybersecurity consultant who specializes in digital forensics and incident response. And I am part of a national security in one of the countries here in the Middle East.
I am inviting everyone to study at New Era University. To legit, to grit.
Be brilliant in the new era.
Study now at New Era University.
Excellence,
Discipline,
Service to humanity.
Patuloy tayo sa mga balita. Police Commanders sinatasan ng Joint Task Force Cavite Shield na makapag-ugnayan sa mga LGU para sa maagang preparasyon sa UNTAS. Si Mar Gabriel sa detalye.
Higit isang buwan bago ang pagsapit ng UNTAS, inatasan na ng Joint Task Force Cavite Shield
ang lahat ng police station sa bansa na simulan na ang pagbuo ng protocols na ipatutupad sa mga sementeryo na kanilang nasasakupan. Ayon kay JTF COVID Shield Commander, Police Lieutenant General Guillermo Ilazar, ngayon pa lang ay dapat makipag-ugnayan ang mga police commanders sa local government unit para sa mas maagang pagpaplano sa gitna ng kinakaharap na pandemya. Ito ay upang magkaroon anya sila ng sapat na panahon para maglatag ng mga patakaran, partikular na ang implementasyon ng minimum health protocols. Ayon kay Ilazar, iginagalang ng JTF COVID Shield ang tradisyon na ito ng mga Pilipino, pero hindi dapat na malagay sa panganib ang kalusugan ng publiko. Binigyan din pa ni Ilazar na ang maagang paglalatag ng health protocols para sa undas ay makakatulong sa publiko upang makapagplano ng gagawing pagbisita at maiwasan ang large gatherings sa mga pampubliko at pribadong sementeryo. Una rito ay ipinagutos na ng ilang LGU ang pagsasarado ng mga sementeryo, memorial parks at columbaries sa October 31 hanggang November 3 upang maiwasan ang pagdagsa ng mga tao. Nakahanda naman daw ang JTF COVID Shield na suportahan ang anumang magiging desisyon ng ibang LGU basta hindi ito lalabag sa mga ipinatutupad na patakaran ng National Task Force on COVID-19. Para sa Eagle News, Mar Gabriel, we live in interesting times.
Eksperto hindi pabor sa pagbabawas ng physical distancing sa mga public transportation. Detalye mula kay Bel Sorara.
Hindi pabor ang ilang eksperto sa pagbabawas ng physical distancing. Ito ay kaugnay ng pagpapatupad sa araw na ito ng reduced physical distancing sa mga pampublikong transportasyon. Sinabi ni Dr. Benito Co, isang infectious disease specialist, ang isang layong metrong distansya ay nakabase sa siyensya at makatutulong ng malaki upang mabawasan ang hawahan o transmission ng sakit. Kahit na anya naka-face mask at naka-face shield, kung malapit naman ang distansya sa isa't isa, napakalaki rin ng tsansa na magkaroon ng hawahan. Paliwanag ni Ko na bilang espesyalista sa nakahawang sakit, kahit naman hindi COVID-19, kung malapit ang distansya sa isa't isa, ay may posibilidad pa rin na magkaroon ng transmission ng disease. Tinigyan din pa ni Ko na dapat ay pinag-aralang mabuti ang ipinatupad na aksyon sa araw na ito na pagbabawas sa physical distancing sa mga pampublikong transportasyon. Hindi anya dapat na maging kampante dahil sa hindi pa naman bumababa ang kaso ng COVID-19 sa bansa. Nararanasan pa rin anya ang 3 hanggang 4,000 kaso ng COVID araw-araw. Patay na rin ito sa datos mula sa Department of Health at ito ay nakikita sa NCR at Calabarzon na highly urbanized at congested ang populasyon at napakadali ang transmission ng sakit. Dagdag pa ni Ko na napakahalaga rin na ipatupad ng maayos ang 3 parameters upang mabawasan ang kaso ng COVID-19 sa bansa. Ito ay ang physical distancing, isolation at contact tracing. Para sa Eagle News, Bel Sorara, we live in interesting times.
Kaso ng COVID-19 sa Laguna, halos 10,000 na. Detalye mula kay Moira Encina.
Umakyat na sa halos 10,000 ang kumpirmadong kaso ng COVID-19 sa Laguna. Batay sa pinakahuling datos mula sa Laguna Provincial Health Office, kabuang 9,894 ang naitala ng positibo sa virus sa lalawigan. Gayunman, umaabot na lamang sa 2,816 ang aktibong kaso. Gumaling na mula sa sakit ang 6,891 COVID patients habang pumanaw ang 187. Pinakamaraming kumpirmadong COVID case ay mula sa Calamba City na 2,363. Nasa mahigit 5,000 kada man ang mga suspected cases sa probinsya. Ang Laguna ay sinailalim na sa NGCQ mula noong September 1. Patuloy naman ang paalala ng provincial government na bagamat maluwag na ang mga alituntunin sa NGCQ ay sumunod pa rin sa mga health protocols dahil may banta pa rin ng COVID-19. Para sa Eagle News, Moira Encina, we live in interesting times.
Grupong Gabriela, nagsagawa naman ng kilos protesta sa harap ng tanggapan ng DSWD sa Maynila. Detalye mula kay Madeline Villar Moratillo.
Nagsagawa ng kilos protesta ang mga miyembro ng Gabriela sa harap ng tanggapan ng Department of Social Welfare and Development National Capital Region sa lungsod ng Maynila. Karamihan sa mga nagkilos protesta, mga nawalan ng trabaho matapos maapektuhan ng COVID-19 pandemic. May dala din sa listahan ng survey firms o survey forms ng mga tao na nangangailangan ng trabaho at pinansyal na tulong na isinumite nila sa tanggapan ng DSWD. Apela nila ayuda mula sa pamahalaan at pangbuhayan para sa mga nawala ng trabaho. Giit nila hindi umano sapat ang mga natanggap na ayuda na ipinagkaloob ng gobyerno. Nanawagan din sila na matigil muna ang sigaw sa kuryente at tubig habang umiiral pa ang pandemya. Para sa Eagle News, Madeline Moratilio, we live in interesting times.
Sa mga balitang probinsya, nasa evacuation center pa rin ang mga sibilyang nadamay sa bakbakan ng mga bandidong Abu Sayyaf at militar sa Zamboanga, Sibugay. Gayunman, tinitiyak na lokal na pamahalaan na doon tuloy-tuloy ang kanilang pagtulong sa mga apektadong residente. Detalye mula kay Eagle News correspondent Joper Rubia.
Namamalagi pa rin sa covered court ng bayan ng Artilim sa Zamboanga, Sibugay Province ang 1,200 individual na lumika sa baybaying bahagi ng Barangay President Rojas, sanhi ng engkwentro sa pagitan ng ESG at militar noong nakaraang linggo. Sinabi ni Ginoong Reynaldo Inso, Barangay Chairman ng President Rojas, na tuloy-tuloy pa rin ang clearing operation ng militar kung kaya hindi pa nakakabalik sa kanilang bahay ang mga nagsilikas na pamilya. Nais daw masigurado ng pamalaang bayan na ligtas na ang mga residente ng President Rojas mula sa banta ng ESG at iba pang teroristang grupo bago sila makakabalik sa kanilang barangay. Tuloy-tuloy naman ang ayuda ng pamalaan habang sila ay namamalagi sa evacuation center sa bayan ng Artilim. Kung matatandaan na nakainkwentro ng 44th Infantry Battalion ang nasa 30 miyembro ng Abu Sayyaf na nagresulta sa pagkapatay sa 5 ESG at pagkakasugat sa 2 sundalo. Mula sa Zamboanga City, Joe Perubia, we live in interesting time.
Inanunsyo naman ang Office of the Presidential Advisor on Peace Process ang proyekto nito na naglalayong makatulong sa pagbibigay ng hanapbuhay sa mga dating miyembro ng More Islamic Liberation Front o MILF. Ayon kay Presidential Advisor on Peace Process, Carlito Galvez Jr., nakikipagtulungan sila sa Department of Trade and Industry o DTI, yan din sa National Irrigation Administration o NIA para sa mga proyekto ng Peaceful Return and Aggressive Inclusion Social Entrepreneurship. Sa pamamagitan nito ay magbibigay ng livelihood at entrepreneurial project sa mga dating combatant. Ito ay pangungunahan ng mga representative mula sa lokal at national government agencies. Tatakbo ang proyekto simula Oktubre matatapos hanggang Hunyo ng 2021. Pinasinayaan na ang bagong Division Office Building ng Department of Education para sa Pagadian City. Bukod rito, office supplies at gadgets ipinagkaloob ng lokal na pamahalaan. Detalye mula kay Eagle News correspondent James Brian Fuentes.
Umabot sa 15 milyong piso ang halaga ng mga kagamitan sa opisina at paaralan ang ipinagkaloob ng LGU Pagadian sa pangunguna ni Mayor Samico para sa bagong gusali ng DepEd Division Office kung saan ipinasinayaan kamakailan. Kinabibilangan nito ng 2 color laser printer, 2 na computer sheet white printer, 22 na tablet, 10 celestial telescope, mga ink, stable wires, mahigit 16,000 rim ng bond paper at 25 na CCTV. Ito'y tulong na rin sa mga kawani ang ahensya ano pat mas priority ang lokal na chief executive ang edukasyon para na rin sa kahandaang klase. Ang mga kagamitang ito ay magagamit sa bagong pinasinayaang gusali ng DepEd Division maging sa mga estudyante ng Pagadian City. Malaki ang papasalamat ng Pagadian City School Division Superintendent Dr. Danny B. Cordova sa tulong na ibinigay ng LGU. Para sa Eagle News, James Bryan, Fuentes, relive and interesting time.
Tumutulong sa mga lokal na magsasaka ang multiplier farm na lokal na pamahalaan ng Alabel, Sarangani. Detalye mula kay Eagle News correspondent Isay Daylisan.
Ang Cabnis Research and Development Center ay isang municipal agriculture extension and research center ng Barangay Datal Angas, Alabel, Sarangani Province. Ang naturang pasilidad ay pinangangasiwaan ng Office of the Municipal Agriculturist at nagsisilbing livestock multiplier farm ng lokal na pamahalang bayan ng Alabel sa Kabukiran. Ang multiplier farm ng Omag sa Cabnis ay kasalukuyang nagpaparami ng mga native pigs, kambing at mga manok. Ayon sa OMAG, ang mga naparaming hayop ay na-distribute na nila sa mga lokal na magsasaka upang mapakinabangan at maparami rin nila. Nagsimula noong 2009 ang Cognis R&D bilang Foods and Forestries Nursery. Sa kasalukuyan, ito ay mayroon ng dormitory, staff house, warehouse at solar dryer. Isa sa mga layunin ng Cognis R&D ay maging isang learning center para sa mga magsasaka ng bayan. Ayon mismo sa OMAG, pagkatapos ng pandemya ng COVID-19, ang nasabing pasilidad ay bubuksan din sa mga estudyante ng agrikultura na gustong mag-immersion o mag-field research. Tulong na rin ito sa mga kabataan na inline sa pag-agrikultura. Malaki ang suporta ng lokal na pamahalaan ng Alabel sa mga aktibidad at programa ng Cognis R&D, lalo na sa adhika nito na mabigyan ng kaalaman ng ating mga kababayang magsasaka at maging ang reforestation program nito. Si Municipal Agriculturist Enriquito Daguplo, kasama ang Food Security Drafting Committee ay nagsagawa ng training noong Hulyo upang bumuo ng mga plano patungo sa food security, food stability at food availability ng bayan ng Alabel. Mula sa Alabel, Sarangani Province, para sa Eagle News, Isay Delisan, we live in interesting times.
At sa ating mga tampok na balita abroad, nasapat naman ang Spanish Civil Guard ang isang Croatian sailboat na may lulang 1 toneladang cocaine sa bahagi ng Canary Island. Ayon sa mga otoridad, dadalhin sana ang mga nakumpiskang cocaine sa European market. Sinasabing ang Coast Guard ng Canary Island ang bagong African route ng international drug trafficking. Ang mga nasabat na iligal na droga ay nagkakahalaga ng 40 million euros. Nasa 50 katao naman ang nasawi sa paghuhunag isang minahan ng ginto sa Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. Ayon sa mga otoridad, nangyaring paghuho kasunod naman ang malalakas na pag-ulan sa bayan ng Kamituga, South Kivu Province. Sinabi ni Provincial Governor Teo na Wibe kasi nakaramihan sa mga nasawi ay kabataan pa lamang. Sinabi naman ilang testigo, posibleng higit sa 50 kataong namatay sa naturang trahedya at isa lamang ang nakaligtas. Sinasabing umapaw ang tubig mula sa ilog na malapit sa tunnel ng minahan, kaya't pumasok ang tubig sa loob ng minahan, naging dahilan para matrap ang mga minero. Nagbabala naman si European Council Chief Charles Michel ng Britanya na dapat maging responsable ito at ipatupad ng buo ang Brexit Withdrawal Agreement. Ginawa ni Michel ang pahayag matapos ang kanyang pakikipag-usap sa Irish Prime Minister na si Michael Martin. Una rito, ipinahayag ng British government na naglatag na sila ng bagong legislation para baguhin ang Brexit Withdrawal Treaty. Ang nasabing bill ay kinikwestiyon din ng ilang dating British Prime Ministers at maging ang mga miyembro ng parlamento ni Prime Minister Boris Johnson. Hinuli at ikinulong ng Belarusian Riot Police ang mga babaeng demonstrador sa isinagawang kilos protesta sa kabisera ng Belarus. Ang kilos protesta ay bilang pagkondina sa mga nangyayaring police violence at umano'y electoral fraud sa katatapos na halalan. Magugunitang nagsimula ang kilos protesta matapos ihayag ni Belarus strongman Alexander Lukashenko na siyang nanalo sa halalan laban sa opposition candidate na si Svetlana Tikhanovskaya. Ang mga kababaihang pinaghuhuli ay sinakay sa mga police van. Ayon sa grupong Yasna Right Group, mahigit sa 40 kababaihan ang hinuli at ikinulong ng mga pulis. Sa sports, Los Angeles Lakers pasok na sa 2020 NBA Western Conference Finals. Si Naomi Osaka nagwagi sa US Open laban naman kay Victoria Azarenka. Balitang sports kahatid sa atin ni Ben Pascua.
Pasok na sa NBA Western Conference Finals ngayong taon ang Los Angeles Lakers matapos talunin ang Houston Rockets sa Game 5 ng kanilang Best of 7 series sa NBA Playoffs. Pinangunahan ni Lakers star LeBron James ang kapunan na nakapagtala ng 29 points, 11 rebounds at 7 assists. Habang nakapagtala si Anthony Davis para sa Rockets ng 13 points at 11 rebounds. Ito ang unang beses na nakapasok ang Lakers sa Western Conference Finals sa loob ng isang dekada. Uli itong nangyari ng pangunahan ni NBA legend Kobe Bryant ang Lakers noong 2010 sa kanilang title win noon laban sa Boston Celtics. Inaantabayan na ng Lakers ang kanilang makakalaban sa 2020 Western Conference Finals. Samantala, naipanalo ni Naomi Osaka ang kanyang stint sa US Open ngayong taon. Ito ay matapos niyang makatunggali si Victoria Azarenka sa score na 1-6, 6-3, 6-3. Nagpaabot ng pagbati si men's tennis number 1 kay Nishikori na umurong sa men's US Open nang ito ay nagpositibo sa COVID-19. Kasabay nito, ikinampanya ni Osaka ang racial injustice at police brutality sa Amerika. At yan ang mga balita para sa EN Sports. Ako si Vin Pasqua. We live in interesting times.
Susunod na ang pinakabagong noontime show dito sa Net25 na magbibigay saya sa inyong pananghalian, ang Happy Time at Lunch with Julie Fernando sa Radyo Agila. Para sa iba pang mga balita, tutok lamang dito po sa Net25 at sundan ang Eagle News Online. Yan ang mga balitang pumapagaspas hatid ng ating Agila correspondent sa loob at labas ng bansa. Hanggang sa muli, ito ang Agila Pilipinas. Sa pangalan ng Eagle News Service, ako po naman si Angelo Palmones. We live in interesting times.